You think you're broke because your wallet is empty. Wrong. You're broke because your mind runs on slave settings. Machiavelli sounded the alarm long ago. Poverty is not the absence of cash. It is the absence of leverage. And the truth isn't soft. The world doesn't cradle the powerless. It harvests them. The minute you beg for sympathy, you are not seeking help. You are advertising that you can be steered. You were taught to fear shortage. Be humble. Be quiet. Be thankful for crumbs. Pray for a better life instead of engineering one. While you waited for permission, the powerful moved in silence and collected everything you were told to wait for. That is the method. They don't need chains when obedience does the job. They don't need to empty your pockets when they can occupy your head. Machiavelli studied this centuries back. People cling to the present and the easy story, which is why deceivers always find volunteers. When your reality depends on applause, you are already conquered. When you treat poverty like fate, it becomes your creed. Here is the forbidden lesson. You can be cash poor and still carry force. You can stand in scarcity and still operate like royalty. Kings are not certified by gold. They are certified by control. The real contest is not stacks of money. It is command over your emotions, your time, and your focus. The person who governs those three governs outcomes. Stop saying I'm broke. Say I'm building. Stop saying I have nothing. Say I need nothing. When you refuse the victim label, the world stops pinning it on you. This isn't a pep talk. This is a campaign of power. I'm going to show you how to think like power even while the crowd calls you poor. Drop this in the comments. My mind is my wealth. Number 1. Poverty is a mental pathogen. You are not poor because you lack stuff. You are poor because you were trained to shrink. You kneeled in your head long before life ever pushed you down. Poverty starts as a tiny infection. It rewires thought. Obey. Settle. Call mediocrity destiny. No one needs to lock you up if your thinking already wears cuffs. Society praises it as humility, but it is psychological submission in dress clothes. It is the quiet belief that you were born to serve rather than command. This belief seeps into your routines, your speech, your stance, until you apologize for wanting more. The curse of the poor is not empty resources. It is worship of limits. He sees power and calls it wicked because he fears he will never touch it. Fear becomes his foreman. Machiavelli warned that a ruler who inherits a free city must break the old forces or be broken by them. Apply that to your inner city. If you do not crush the weak ideas that run your mind, they will crush your capacity. Every time you say, I can't, you feed the infection. Every time you envy instead of planning, you trade the throne in your head for a plastic chair. Doubt sits on it. Comfort guards the door. Fear writes the laws. The system profits from that weakness. It wants compliant labor, not strategic minds. It pays out for obedience and raises the price on rebellion. The moment you ask why you live like a servant, they stamp you as arrogant. Arrogance is not the villain. It is the first spark of self-respect. A mind that refuses to kneel is a mind that starts to command. Dark psychology is clear about this. Control begins with the image you project. If you rank yourself below others, the world will file you there. Most people advertise poverty before they ever live it. Your energy tells predators whether you are safe to push. That is why the wealthy can lose everything and still rebuild. Their minds never learned submission. The chronically poor can stumble into a jackpot and still move like prey. They burn fortunes chasing the costume of wealth instead of training the muscle of power. This is not about cash. It is architecture of thought. If your mental code is dependency, you will kneel to anyone who looks taller. Break the code. Stop waiting for a rescue boat. Stop fantasizing about a savior. No one is coming, and that is the opening. Once you accept that, motion replaces fear. You stop asking for permission to rise. You move with quiet precision, and the environment adjusts. Every time you pick discipline over distraction, you reclaim territory in your head. Every time you refuse self-pity, the infection loses oxygen. Poverty doesn't live in the bank, it lives in belief. Only you can incinerate it. See yourself as dangerous, capable, and hard to break. A mind that will not kneel cannot be owned. Drop this in the comments. My mind bows to no one. Number 2. Power is a performance. The world does not pay for truth. It pays for dominance. Most people never learn this because they chase the look of honesty instead of the posture of strength. Machiavelli understood the chain of influence. Appearance shapes perception. Perception shapes power. Look fragile and you invite hunters. Behave helpless and you sign the permission slip to be managed. People are not gentle evaluators. They are calculators. They weigh your tone, your eyes, your stance. They scan for doubt, find it, and you are tagged as prey. That is why power must be acted until it becomes embodied. Train your face to broadcast certainty while your chest is on fire. The powerful seem unshaken because they accept a brutal law. The crowd cannot separate confidence from reality. If you present untouchable, you start to become it. As the Florentine put it, everyone sees the mask. Few meet the man. Most are governed by what they see, and illusion often outruns fact. Call it dark psychology if you want. It is the deliberate shaping of perception to steer results. The average man shows his scars and asks for mercy. The superior man hides his damage, protects his center, and keeps moving. In turbulence, he stands still while others shiver. That steadiness frightens the weak because it dissolves their control script. Never look finished, even when you are bleeding. This is not deceit. This is strategy. Wear composure like armor. Let your enemies exhaust themselves on the surface while you rebuild the structure behind it. The moment you look helpless, respect evaporates. Respect is not granted to the exposed. It is granted to the one who makes others doubt his ceiling. That doubt is a weapon. Use it. In a room of noise, be the still point. When chaos hits, hold your fire and speak last. Slow your movements. Lock your gaze. The one who looks composed sets the rhythm. Weakness isn't only muscle. It leaks through flinches, rushed words, and shaky tone. If your face advertises panic, you're finished before the first move. Confidence is camouflage. It masks your doubts and blinds your rivals. Use it with care. Let people assume you see more than you reveal. Let them imagine allies they can't identify. Let them oversize your reach. Being overestimated buys you time and leverage. The world kneels to images more than facts. That's why kings keep the crown even while the walls crack. They know authority survives through its performance. Build that presence even when your pockets are light. Stand upright, speak less, command your posture. You don't need luxury to lead attention. You need discipline and poise. That is what separates those who steer from those who trail. Every glance, every pause, every gesture is part of your theater. You are not faking power. You are training the room to treat you as powerful. Once it does, your belief hardens, and belief reshapes outcomes. The small act small because their horizon is small. The strong act expansive because they refuse to shrink. Never display helplessness again. The second you do, the world confirms your script. Drop this in the comments. I perform power flawlessly. Number 3. The poor man's trap. The worst poverty isn't a zero balance. It is emotional dependence. Most people don't chase victory. They chase approval. They want to be seen, felt, understood. That is the trap. It looks soft, but it empties your power faster than hunger ever will. The moment your worth needs applause, your identity is rented to strangers. The Florentine strategist understood this. If you must choose, the safer lever is fear, because fear can be engineered, while love relies on others. Validation is a leash padded with comfort. Seek it, and you announce that your feelings are open for purchase. The market loves sellers like that. It gives back nothing and takes everything. The weak narrate endlessly, explaining motives, defending wounds, pleading to be understood. The powerful choose silence as a blade. Silence forces others to guess. Guessing breeds unease. Unease breeds caution. And caution looks a lot like respect. The poor mistake volume for force. They think more words will finally make people believe. In reality, every extra sentence testifies to insecurity. Weakness begs to be understood. Strength is indifferent. Strength does not justify itself. A lion doesn't footnote its roar. Everyone already knows the meaning. Operate that way. Every time you beg to be seen, your price drops. Every time you explain your pain, you surrender leverage. The approval-starved cling to attention because it's the only currency they think remains. Those who are rich in spirit spend mystery instead. They don't parade suffering. They convert it into pressure, focus, and edge. They enter rooms owing nothing to anyone. That is dominance. Dark psychology says people value what they cannot map. If they can predict you, they can steer you. If your feelings are on display, they can script you. The countermeasure is restraint. Let silence carry your message. Watch what happens when you stop explaining. Respect appears, not because you demanded it, but because your stillness unsettles them. People fear what they can't decode. That is where your leverage lives, inside your unreadability. The poor man craves recognition. The powerful man craves control. Stop chasing validation like a child chasing a beam of light. You don't need permission to be formidable. You don't need applause to verify worth. Let them misunderstand. It's a cheap price for command. Validation is an addiction dressed as comfort. It feels sweet and builds chains. Every like, every compliment, every nod becomes another cuff. Cut it. Walk out of it. Be willing to be misread, even disliked. That is the toll for independence. Weak men fear disapproval. Strong men accept that influence manufactures enemies. Choose respect over affection. Choose mystery over exposure. Choose authority over ease. Stop explaining. Stop defending. Stand in quiet command. That is how kings move. The day you stop begging to be understood is the day people start obeying. Drop this in the comments. My silence speaks power. Number 4. Think like a king. A man with nothing to lose is volatile. A man who acts as if he's already victorious is untouchable. Kingship begins in perception, not possessions. The poor wait for abundance to feel worthy. The powerful use scarcity as fuel to conquer. Machiavelli offered a test. Judge a ruler by the caliber of his circle. Kings know their company mirrors their mind. So even when resources are thin, treat your time and presence like rare metal. Move like your attention is expensive. People will price you accordingly. Let every gesture, every choice, every pause transmit authority. The world buys the story you project. Project control, and it complies. Project need, and it consumes you. Even in lean seasons, carry composure. Keep your tone steady, your eyes focused, your emotions contained behind discipline's walls. Those weapons cannot be seized. The man who governs himself rewrites fate. Thinking like a king means opting out of chaos. While others scramble, you assess. You don't react. You respond. You don't chase validation. You let gravity do the talking. Enter a room and measure it quietly, not with swagger, but with precision. Kings do not rush. Speed belongs to the desperate. They move slowly because they trust their advantage. This is dark psychology at its core. Control perception, and you control outcome. Every word must land like a choice, not a guess. Every decision must look settled. People respect confidence that asks for no permission and needs no proof. Become that signal. Power should hum through your restraint. The appearance of certainty outperforms the proof of wealth. Small minds leak stress. Royal minds leak nothing. Kings treat emotion like currency and refuse to spend it in public. Even with empty pockets, you can rule with composure. You can command posture, responses, and the story others tell about you. Silence carries weight when conviction stands behind it. The weak chase props to feel important. The strong convert energy into status. It's how you sit, how you speak, how you breathe. Master those and you can lose assets yet still look like the one who decides. That aura intimidates the fragile. People subscribe to confidence because it offers a story to believe. They will follow a calm liar before a panicked truth-teller. Human nature bends to performance. Machiavelli knew leadership is theater and every man is on stage. Play the role so fully that your subconscious accepts the crown before the world does. Act like a king long enough and reality shifts to fit the script. This isn't pretending. It is reprogramming your mind to command rather than comply. Never present defeat, even when surrounded by loss. Keep your voice level, even when uncertain. The instant you perform weakness, you get treated as weak. Royalty is not a crown, it is control. Think, breathe, and walk as power itself. Kings are not born. They are declared. Declare it now. Drop this in the comments. I move like a king. Number 5. Detachment makes you dangerous. The man who needs nothing sets the terms for everything. Society runs on addiction to comfort, validation, and certainty. Break those cravings and you become untouchable. Machiavelli said, "Men move by love or fear. The detached man is feared because he cannot be bribed by either. If you don't crave applause, no one can bait you. If you don't need affection, no one can break you. Stop chasing money and people offer it to buy your attention. Detachment isn't cold, it is control. It is mastery of desire, so desire does not master you. Weak men worship what they lack. Strong men study what they want and choose strategically whether it is worth the cost. Detachment separates desperation from dominance. It gives your presence gravity, sharpens your choices, and makes your rhythm hard to read. Unpredictability is raw power. People fear what they cannot forecast because it reminds them of their limits. That is why the calm man in an emotional room becomes the center of gravity. He does not react. He calculates. He does not beg. He selects. His silence pulls words from others. His stillness makes others twitch. This is dark psychology at its peak. The less need you show, the more leverage you hold over those who do. Detach, and other people's expectations lose jurisdiction. The fear of loss stops steering you. Insults, delays, betrayals, even praise stop dictating your mood. You become emotionally self-contained, and that unpredictability becomes your shield and your sword. The world can't toy with a man who refuses to play. The broke cling to money, people, and opinions because their identity is glued to them. The powerful can leave any table and remain themselves. Detachment builds that spine. It is a quiet oath that nothing owns you. Not success, not failure, not even love. That isn't cruelty. It is emotional strategy. Machiavelli would name it power through independence, the skill of ruling yourself so completely that no one else gets the throne. Love deeply, but never need deeply. Care, but never depend. That split is what separates kings from captives. The detached mind does not rush, chase, or prove. It lets others burn energy trying to impress or decode you. Meanwhile, you study, store information, and choose the strike window. That is control. Acting when you decide, not when baited. Detach from outcomes because obsession fogs judgment. Detachment clears it. When you stop needing instant wins, your decisions get cleaner. When you stop fearing loss, your leverage grows. Detachment keeps you still while others panic. It makes you unreadable while others overshare. It turns pain into precision and rejection into focus. You are not emotionless. You are selective. The trap cannot hold the man who will not be owned by desire. Reach that state and people chase your attention because your indifference exposes their need. That is dominance. Detachment does not weaken connection. It defines it. It teaches people your time, energy, and peace are premium, not public property. The man who can walk away from anything is the one no one dares to test. Drop this in the comments. Nothing owns me. Number 6. Turn pain into power. Pain is not an enemy. It is initiation. Every wound, every betrayal, every burial was conditioning you to graduate from emotion into calculation. The Florentine would say, never waste a crisis. Suffering is not only survived, it is weaponized. The weak fold because they read pain as punishment. The strong rise because they read pain as data. Each time you get hit, you receive intelligence on people, on boundaries, on yourself. Pain is clean clarity. It erases fantasy, exposes lies, and marks who is genuine and who is performing. Most flee because they cannot handle truth without cushioning. The man who endures without breaking turns untouchable. Pain exposes holes in your armor, but it also maps your strongest steel. The gap between slaves and strategists is how they process hurt. The slave complains. The strategist studies. He tracks the pattern of betrayal, breaks it down, and upgrades his defenses. He does not drown in heartbreak. He forges it into armor. Every insult is a case study in human behavior. Every humiliation is a line you will never let anyone cross again. That is Machiavellian alchemy, turning suffering into raw material for dominance. Emotional wounds are blades. In untrained hands, they cut deeper. In disciplined hands, they become weapons. Pain can poison or prepare you. The difference is interpretation. Most people fuse emotion to suffering and label it tragedy. The powerful detach, map the pattern, and call it training. Pain is the teacher that never lies. Success flatters. Comfort dulls. Pain tells the truth to your face. It does not bargain. It does not soothe. It corrects. Learn to suffer consciously. Watch your feelings without letting them drive the wheel. Let pain burn away illusion, not purpose. When someone hurts you, skip the instant revenge. Let time harden your edge. Each scar proves you lived through what others hoped would end you. That is privilege, not punishment. The most dangerous man smiles while bleeding. He becomes unreadable. Pain forges patience, precision, and pressure resistance. The crowd expects suffering to humble you. Let it harden you. Use rejection to reinforce boundaries. Use betrayal to refine instincts. Use loss to sharpen focus. Any struggle can be recycled into strength if you stay alert. Machiavelli understood that pain reveals the architecture of leadership. It separates the emotional from the strategic. Leaders endure not because they are numb, but because they convert feeling into control. When life strikes, answer with mastery. Don't broadcast the wound. Catalog the data, adjust tactics, and return sharper. Storms win applause only when you walk out of them standing. Pain cannot destroy you unless you identify with it. You are not the wound. You are the weapon it built. When you start loving pressure, discomfort, and solitude, pain becomes privilege. Only those marked for command are tested this hard. Fire melts glass and tempers steel. Choose which you are. Drop this in the comments. My pain builds power. Number 7. Rule yourself. A man who can't govern himself will be governed by anyone who can. Machiavelli's edge is simple and merciless. Control starts inside. Fail to master your impulses and you hand them to people who will harvest them. Discipline is not punishment. It is supremacy. It is the craft of governing emotion, language, and reaction so completely that nothing external can jerk the wheel. The weak are easy to provoke, easy to tempt, easy to distract. Their strings are visible. The world pulls them for sport. The strong run a different program. They delay gratification. Think before they strike. And never let mood dictate movement. That is real freedom. Standing steady while everyone else dances for chaos. The Florentine warned that a ruler must learn when not to be good and deploy that knowledge only when necessary. That is not cruelty. That is control. Self-mastery lets you adapt without losing identity. To rule yourself is to know when to attack, when to withdraw, and when to wait. Most men ruin openings because they cannot sit still. They chase every impulse, answer every slight, and squander energy proving points that do not pay. The inner ruler understands that patience is dominance disguised as silence. The one who can pause owns the moment. Discipline is the highest currency of power. It cannot be stolen. It can only be built. Money fades, allies flip, fortunes turn. Self-command endures. The man who conquers his own storm becomes the calm others follow. When your focus cuts like a blade, the environment tunes itself to your rhythm. The undisciplined stay chained to impulse and regret. They talk before they think, spend before they earn, react before they understand. They exist. They never rule. Reverse the pattern. Convert every impulse into instruction. When anger flares, analyze it. When fear whispers, interrogate it. When doubt appears, dissect it. Awareness breeds control. Control breeds respect. Dark psychology is blunt about this. People submit to the most composed presence in the room. If your emotions stay contained while theirs unravel, they yield without knowing why. That is psychological dominance. It is authority without orders. Discipline is not emotional suffocation. It is weaponized restraint. It replaces reflex with strategy. Master your inner noise and the hooks of manipulation stop catching. Temptations expose themselves as traps. Validation reveals itself as a leash. The disciplined man does not announce strength. His stability announces it for him. Control yourself and you control trajectory. Every empire collapsed from rot inside before the enemy crossed the gate. Men fall the same way. You lose the moment. Impulse becomes your king. Stay calm when provoked. Stay focused when drowned by noise. Stay steady while others shake. That is the mark of power. Machiavelli warned that those who cannot govern themselves will serve those who can. Rule yourself without mercy. Rule your mind, your time, your emotions. That is where every throne is framed. Never call yourself poor, even with empty hands. Poverty is not a condition. It is a code. The man who commands his feelings, his focus, and his reactions holds more wealth than a king who needs applause to breathe. Fortune favors the prepared mind, the one that adapts, acts without begging, and rises without clapping crowds. You may lose money, comfort, even allies. Refuse to lose control and you will rebuild with interest. The powerless wait for miracles. The powerful manufacture them. Life will test you. It will strip, betray, and humiliate. It will ask who you are when there is nothing left to display. Most break, you will not. Kings are not carved by comfort. They are tempered in chaos. Every struggle is a crown disguised as pressure. Every scar is a receipt that you stood where others folded. You do not need validation. You do not need lucky breaks. You need control. You need strategy. You need ruthless consistency that climbs in silence until the world must acknowledge you. Stop saying you are broke. Stop saying you are trapped. You are neither. You are raw voltage waiting for form. You are the weather no one forecast. If this hit you, prove it. Like the video to anchor the lesson. Share it with someone still handcuffed to excuses. Subscribe, because this campaign for power is only starting and the next lessons will make you harder to bend. Drop the final affirmation in the comments. I own my fate.